Pennywise is an evil clown. He's also an eldritch abomination born from the void that feeds on fear itself. Now, what if there was a game where you could make your own Pennywise? Where you're not surviving some unspeakable horror, but playing as it. Literally. Well, do I have the game for you? They Feed on Fear is a horror RPG developed by graphic designer Alexei Vela, where you're the monster. You're a fear eater, an eldritch interdimensional being that hunts humans. Not just to munch on them, but because they have an energy you drain called essence. Get enough essence, you achieve your end goal, and what that means is up to you. One of the best aspects of They Feed on Fear is the level of creativity it asks of players, and tends to get out of them, because you're not just making some random monster. You're crafting its lore, its Elder True gibberish name, its lair, and the object of power that connects it to this reality. Heck, even essence is custom to your character. It'd have been easy just to say, you feed on fear, end of story. But it's your call, and this emphasis on customization really does a lot to add genuine immersion in the experience. I also like that you're not making this almighty Lovecraftian god. Maybe that's your end goal for getting enough essence, but there's a level of survival horror and resource management here. Essence is your health pool, the way you perform actions and abilities, as well as your way of leveling up and respeccing through investments toward the Doom Clock. Simply put, there's a good reason to be hunting for essence, since you need to use it to play the game and, end it. I thought being this famished, underpowered monster actually helps get you into the role better. There's a reason to use your head when it comes to hunting and making your character. What do you choose to invest in stat-wise? How do you play the game? The ease of respeccing does squash that a bit, but it's optional, and there's more issues concerning character building I'll get into down the line. In terms of getting you ready to create and roleplay your character, the system's strong. For my part, I made one character who preferred a more blunt approach to things. I didn't want to go the ethereal route of being some subtle specter. I wanted to be this gangly monster man who used things called claws and teeth to extract essence. And I wanted this horrifying origin story. You know, something genuinely messed up. And, well, I wasn't kidding earlier about this game getting a lot out of players. So, picture this small family-run Christmas store. Except the latest owner is kind of the only one left that cares for it. It's this nice, upstanding man in the community who genuinely wants to do good. He loves the store, he loves what he does, and making people happy means the world to him. But business wasn't booming, and try as he might, he did do his best. Eventually, there was no turning things around. The store would have to be sold, and the owner couldn't handle it. Generations went into the store before him. He'd have to live knowing he was the weak link. The failure of his family, and that was just something he couldn't do. Sammoned, the Summer Santa. Essence, eyes. End goal, stabilization. To anchor itself to this reality, using the eyes to see more of it and grow better attached. Lair, the abandoned Christmas store in a strip mall. Object of power, a discarded blue Santa hat. Age, newborn. The death of an innocent man and the closure of his store produced enough bad energy to manifest this guy. A being made from malice. If you've ever heard of the game Anatomy, I drew a lot of inspiration from it. The store began to hate, so it spit this thing into our reality. And that's just character creation. That's not talking about actually playing the game. It's pretty fun. Dark, but fun. This is really where that level of immersion comes out, where you're in the role of this cosmic predator looking to feed. But at the same time, you've got to be smart, or you're gonna get the CIA looking to add you to their arsenal in no time. So you start getting into the hunter soul gatherer mindset. Streets aren't safe to walk down if you haven't invested in full skin. The darkness is your ally. Ordinary places start to serve different twisted purposes here. A parking lot come sundown is now a hunting ground. A stretch of woods outside civilization is your safe zone. You never want to deal with a crowd. You want to pick off people one by one. Even Alexei pictured this being the case, unless you're willing to team up with fellow fear eaters and cooperate. Maybe you partner up and then decide to double cross them later. Maybe you guys go at it from the get-go, since your end goals are incompatible. There's storytelling potential here beyond eating people and raising hell, but it can also be that simple if you want it to be. Keep in mind, the system encourages that the DM, known as the provider here, doesn't give out quests. The players choose their actions and shape the campaign as they see fit. It's then up to the provider to come up with reactions and how things unfold in the community, the setting of the game. Now, for the record, They Feed on Fear assumes that you're going with some small fictional town or city in the 70s or 80s. My group went with their hometown in the 21st century. That worked better for us. Using this real place we were familiar with enhanced that immersion and uneasiness, especially thinking about how realistically the town would react to what we were doing. It was a little touch, but even hearing the provider talk after each hunt about how his family would react to news of attacks or disappearances, at what point they would have told his younger self to stay indoors, it gave this dread-inducing vibe to the whole experience that just worked. The horror remained intact, even in a game where you're playing as the monster, and that makes it solid in my eyes. Sadly, I can't say it's great. Truth be told, They Feed on Fear can feel a bit lopsided mechanically. This is a narrative-focused game, and it's telling that the more narrative-focused systems like prey or character creation are as fleshed out as they are. However, when you get into the meat of other important systems, you're getting weird portions. I mentioned town reactions before, and there are stress and hysteria mechanics for that which sound really cool on paper. That no matter what, your actions have consequences. Abilities cause ripples in reality, causing stress, which can cause mass hysteria. Weird stuff is happening in what's supposed to be this close-knit community, and you're seeing it react to that horror it's going through, even throwing increasingly harder threats your way like some horror movie version of the GTA Wanted levels. I like the idea. But in execution, if you go off these rules, you're gonna run into issues quickly. A little too quickly, especially if you're playing in a decent-sized group. You could pull off the perfect hunt, all the players could, but no matter what, stress is going way up. Keep in mind, wasting essence from a failed or even successful hunt is a possibility. Add additional challenge on top of that, and there's a reason it rubbed our provider the wrong way. He ended up just going with the campaign advice. Reward players for role-playing. Ignore or remove stress and hysteria outright. There's even an ability to reduce hysteria, so there are options around the issue. But there was just so much work put into it that you kind of wish more effort could have gone towards other things, like the list of powers the player gets. There's only a page and a half of this stuff. This is the system that needed more depth, not hysteria. You get abilities based on your stats, except there's just not enough of them here to get enough build variety. This is what I meant earlier when I said while character creation is strong, character building isn't. And remember the Doom Clock I mentioned? You can incrementally respec your character each level up as an option, which could be cool if there was a lot on offer here. Except, I think you could pull off seeing everything there is on offer in 2 playthroughs max. You're gonna hate me for bringing Fallout into this, but the power system here reminds me a lot of the perk system from those games, and I think it helps explain my issue a bit better. Think about why Fallout needs perks. It needs all those different abilities tied to stats and skills, or else people don't feel like build variety is rewarded. And that's especially the case in a tabletop RPG where there's no flashy graphics to mask the mechanics. Here, you really need something to encourage build variety, something to add depth and variety to your game. Players want a lot of options to make a lot of different characters with, to the point they make mods or homebrew new stuff. They want that nice juicy meat around the bones to sink their teeth into. But here, character development is kinda slim. There was talk of modules and expansions in the works involving cults and proxies, and I gotta wonder if these would add more powers to the game. You know, some cool abilities to create your own little fan club and do good deeds across the land. I hope to see some of that in the future. Even the inclusion of something like a bunch of incompatible powers would be great. Like, you could go the uber strength route, but investing in raw strength means you can't stealth as well. Or you invest in your speed to become this hyper fast predator, but your perception's kinda spotty. Make a second Kickstarter if you have to, Alexi. I'll support you. Okay, so a quick side note, just found out there's a second edition that's been released for They Feed Unfair. It's sold on an indie RPG web store called Exalted Funeral. Definitely gonna have to check this out at some point. Getting back to the positives though, is the art. It's clear from the Kickstarter, it's clear from the cover, and it's crystal clear throughout this whole book. They Feed Unfair oozes style. It's as much a game as it is an art piece, a love letter to horror old and new. There's plenty of references to horror media you can spot, and plenty of great artwork made by some real talent. Trevor Henderson is a big name on the project. He's the cover artist, he's the first name behind Alexi in the featured artist list. Siren Head even makes a cameo at one point, meaning that, canonically speaking, Siren Head is a Fear Eater. Who'd have thunk it? But just gushing about Trevor would be doing a disservice to the other artists who really did a lot to add to this book. Enoch Duncan with his horrifying art, David Romero, who has some fantastic pieces of animated horror, provided some of these lovely abominations. Shane Hunt almost perfectly recreated the aesthetic of scary stories to tell in the dark, my childhood trauma. There's plenty of others, but what I'm trying to say through all this is, even if you don't want to play the game, it's basically worth it for the art alone. And again, despite its flaws, I still think it's a really solid system. They Feed on Fear delivers something right for the Halloween season. I like horror, I like role-playing, and here's the two combined in a lot of good ways. So, I recommend it. More videos to come. In the meantime, stay safe out there and have a happy Halloween.